Welcome to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Folks, and thank you for joining us on another edition of DAX Machina. We're glad you guys joined us tonight. We're going to have a great show tonight. We have got an old friend of the channel back, Jesus Payan from Breaking Bigfoot. If you guys will know him from Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Longmire, if you're a big Longmire fan, which I am. He's a genuine Renaissance man of our times. Jesus he's been a stunt man, an actor, a writer, a producer, a director. And he also used to work in law enforcement as a bouncer. So the dude has been there, done that, and got a bag of T-shirts about the size of a freight train. He has been there and done it all. Not to mention one hell of a top-notch researcher. So we're damn glad to have him back. Joining me in the studio tonight is Carrie Pocket Doc Davis, Robbie Rip Rains, and my son Noah, for those of you who know him as Jorgamunder. But Jesus, thank you for being back with us, man. I'm glad to have you here. So how have you been, man?
I've been trying to keep busy and work hard on getting in shape and not being chased by Bigfoot, UFOs, and aliens.
Well, I got to say, you look fantastic, man. You have really, really lost a lot of weight. You look great. And I'm just absolutely I'm very proud of you, man. Did a great job.
Thank you, brother. You know, the BC-19 expedition that happened with Tate Huron, right? I was going to go to that. I ended up not being able to go to it, but I started preparing for it because it was going to be uphill, upstream, and all that stuff. So I wanted to get healthy enough to be able to do it. And I ended up not having to go, but I got healthy and lost weight. So in the last 6 months, I've lost 70 pounds, about.
Wow.
I put on like
awesome, dude.
20 pounds of muscle, so that's good, right? I ain't just trying to lose the weight. I got to fill back the skin back up with muscle, you know?
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, you've certainly stayed busy with the research and everything too. You've been all over the place. You're some of the stuff you found down in New Mexico and in the desert out there is just freaking mind blowing, man. Some of the pictures you've captured, you've really just blown my mind with some of the stuff you've found.
Thank you, brother. I work hard I don't have to look hard for that weird stuff, but noticing it and sharing the information and the possibilities of where all this stuff comes from and why. The land of enchantment. That's why New Mexico is called the land of enchantment. There's so much weird stuff happening here. Like, holy crap, you know?
I lived down in New Mexico up in Union County for a number of years when I was a kid, and it was always something bizarre. There was just always something very magical about the place. I'm sorry, what? Sorry, it sounded like you cut out there. Sorry about it.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait a minute, we're losing audio. Oh, crap.
But we got everything out here. Like I said, we've got all kinds of spirit activity, Bigfoot activity, dogman activity. Haven't seen the chupacabra out here, but there's the little people are here. We got there's a report of a thunderbird. There's been giant skeletons found out here. The biggest so far is 12 feet tall. This list just goes on and on and on and don't stop.
Well, that's just the encryptids and stuff. So many ghost stories out of New Mexico. There were just outside of the town I lived in, a little town called Clayton. There's a canyon out there called Apache Canyon, where a large battle between the Apache and the cavalry was fought. And they said on certain nights you could go out there and still hear the fight going on.
Yep, and like right here in Mescalero Apache Res, if you go deep on the res, real deep, there's actually still conquistador helmets, their full wardrobe, just, of course, with nobody inside it no more, you know. But yeah, it's just laying out there, and they don't let nobody go touch that stuff because they believe it, you know, it's cursed. So it just sits out there. They don't give a crap if it's worth, you know, money or something to sell, or they ain't trying to do all that, you know.
Wow.
It's a trip. It's a trip knowing that we got all that stuff still out there.
Dang.
Wild that it's still just out there in the desert.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. I wanted to say, because I didn't get to speak at the conference this weekend, except for on the panel for like 2 times, and I wanted to tell about when I was drumming and singing with the Comanche boys for powwows. I had to learn, you know, where the song comes from and what it's about, and because you don't get a piece of paper with the lyrics, you gotta literally memorize it by just doing it. And then they, you know, of course, before they told me what happened, but the gourd dance that they start the powwows with was learned from an 8-foot tall, hair covered, you know, wolf person, as it was described. And so these 2 young braves, they go out in the forest and they're, you know, hunting and whatnot, and they hear music. So they follow the music, and they finally get to this area, and there's that big dogman, wolfman, I don't know, but it had hands, and it was able to hold 2 dry gourds, you know, so kind of like maracas, you know what I mean? And it was out there, you know, going, hey, you know, whatever the song he was singing, which was the gourd dance. And the Braves asked him, you know, what is this? Where do you learn how to do, you know, do this dance and song? And the dean told them that it was called the gourd dance, and they wanted all the tribes to perform this ceremony at the beginning of any powwows they do. So I thought that was really interesting, that a dogman, wolfman, I don't think it was a Bigfoot, but you never know. But they described, the story is described as a wolf, a tall, standing up wolfman, you know, and it affected so much as in the world of the Native Americans that, you know, that song's still performed at all the powwows. First thing, the first song that comes on, and they dance to. Insane. I just think that was it's really interesting.
Do you get a lot of reports of skinwalkers in your area?
Not down here as much. There's once in a while you hear somebody say they thought, you know, they saw one, but that was way, because I'm in south. This is south of New Mexico where I'm at. In northern New Mexico, Farmington, the Four Corners area, that's where you get a whole bunch of reports of skinwalkers.
Yeah, because that's where my buddy was when he had his encounter on one. He was on the Navajo res down there in the Four Corners.
Yep, that's where I was. I lived there on the Upper Fruitland Reservation, right there by Farmington.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
The Navajo res, yeah, that's where I lived for over a year with my family.
Yeah, that's where he saw his. That's where he had his encounter. So,
nice.
Yeah, freaky stuff. How about Wendigo activity down there?
Again, not so much down here. Up there, you know, yep.
Yeah, up
down
where
here?
I am. Yeah.
Yep.
So your
down here
will be safe in New Mexico, Doc.
What?
I said your snowmobile will be safe in New Mexico.
Yeah, I know, but not so much where I live in Colorado. So yeah.
Yep.
Freaking Wendigo. So.
So, you know, I know it's been a while since you've been on the show, and we've got a kind of a bigger audience than we did last time you were on. Our channel's still growing, but can you tell us a little bit about your background? What got you in to Bigfoot and crypto research? As you know, I know you're an actor. You've been in law enforcement. You were a prison guard for a while, weren't you?
Yep, I was a federal detention officer. And I was on the extraction team, and I was a trial officer? Hearing officer. There you go. I was a hearing officer, too. Yeah, sorry. Got lost there for a second. But what it was that it wasn't so much that I was into all the weird stuff out there. It was I was more living it since I was the first time I saw UFOs was when I was 3 and experiencing ghosts. When I was 4, me and my parents went to the Loch Ness, in Scotland to look for Nessie for 2 weeks. So that was like just regular life for me. I didn't know that it was not normal. And then when we moved to the States, when my dad was finally stationed back here in the States, it just continued on and on and on. Seeing UFOs all the time, experiencing ghost stuff, not knowing that a lot of the stuff I was experiencing was because of abduction, being abducted. You can call me abductee or an experiencer, whatever. But it was just always happening throughout my lifetime. And then not until 2000 that I actually hear physically in person Bigfoot, doing one of its calls in Ruidoso Mountains. And after it did 2 long calls, high-pitched, long, it sounds like a car skidding, but for 30 seconds at a time, it shut down the whole forest. I couldn't stop. My mom worked for the forest department, and whenever they got reports, they couldn't go investigate because it's not supposed to exist. But I got to know where it was, and my sister's a police officer at the time in Ruidoso Downs. Same thing. They get reports of Bigfoot, but because they're not supposed to exist, they can't investigate it. And I got to hear all the areas they were at. So that's not, I already had been studying Bigfoot, researching Bigfoot, but by book and computer. I hadn't done it, on, boots on the ground. But after that, that one time hearing them, I couldn't stop looking. And over the years, by 2012, I had figured out a good way to track them, all the telltale signs if they're in the areas. And yeah, it just got deeper and deeper. And then people started inviting me into different expeditions with them. And yeah, I couldn't stop. I love Bigfoot.
That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, your one of your videos has been featured on a couple of cryptid shows, like Paranormal Caught on Camera, the one where you were driving a couple and you saw the Bigfoot out in the field, by the trees. Yeah.
Yep, and that was wild for sure. Those Bigfoots cause a lot. They're very mischievous on that reservation, and so everybody knows that they're there, that lives there, but they don't try to befriend them because they're kind of jerky ones up there in the Navajo Res. They do a lot of stealing from the farms and gardens, and the dogs disappearing. One guy had his horse's hind leg ripped off by a Bigfoot. Just a lot of stuff. They've made people actually move out of certain areas because it was just so much activity, and then really pushing people out because it's their territory.
That takes a tremendous amount of strength to rip a horse's leg off.
Oh yeah.
About that,
especially the hind leg.
Yeah. Well, it's like I challenge anybody out there to go find the chicken and rip off the whole hind leg off just by pulling.
Right.
That itself is hard, let alone a horse or just even a small something. It's just a ridiculous strength. And it was a couple days before that video I shot. I was on the way when I dropped everything. I told those people I was giving a ride to, take my car. I'm going to go hunt the Bigfoot. Go on, do what you got to do. And I jumped out and I took off, and I walked up to this house in between from where I saw the Bigfoot and where I got out. And all the dogs started barking and everything. And the guy came out and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I was like, I told him what I was doing. And I said, "Have you ever, seen anything, heard any, things?" And he said, my neighbor down the way, he found his horse dead. The Bigfoot tore off his hind leg. That had just happened like 2 days before. So yeah, those ones are pretty mean. I have a couple pictures of those Bigfoots in bushes looking through the bushes, and they look like some mean, scary dudes, like creepy, evil grins and stuff. And,
No.
And they stole beer. They stole somebody's beer. There was what the hell was up there? I found a a 12-pack, a ripped open box, and the 12, beers had been pulled out, but none of them had been opened from the top pop, like that. They were either squished and popped open, or you'd see things bit into them, like that. You could see where a big old thumb was pressing on it so hard that it popped open. Another one, so they stole somebody's beer and they drank it.
Sound like that box of Krispy Kremes, doesn't it, DA?
No kidding. Yeah, we're down at the Joe Bald Recreation Area down here near Table Rock Lake, and it's an abandoned campground. And set back in the woods is this overgrown camp area. And I saw something on one of the old picnic tables. Went back there, and it was a brand new full box of Krispy Kreme donuts. And I'm like, there's nobody around for miles, and there's this unopened box of Krispy Kreme. I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't touch these.
Yeah,
I think somebody was putting stuff out for them.
I bet. You never know if somebody's trying to kill something too, because there's some sick people out there, and they'll just do stuff like that to kill bears or dogs or whatever, just to be jerks.
Yeah.
And there's also the possibility that somebody set up their Krispy Kreme donuts and then something chased them off, and they're like, F the donuts.
Right.
Facts.
Because, if I'm out in the woods, at a picnic table or whatever, right, and I set up a nice thing of Krispy Kreme, and I start to take a bite out of that first glazed donut, and then I see some, 10-foot tall bipedal ape running at me. I mean, like, let's get back.
The donuts.
Let's get back in the car. We don't need the donuts.
Right.
It looks like it's time to exercise instead of eating sweets.
Work it off.
Now, that you were talking about the guy that had the horse legs ripped off. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, I would like to know some of the details around that, because it takes a tremendous amount of strength to do that.
Well, right there in that area where I got the video of the Bigfoot walking across, there's the San Juan River up, just, I don't know, another quarter mile, maybe, not even that far from the irrigation ditch that it walked along, and there's a bunch of houses back there. So I had a lot of people on the comments of the video saying, there's no way a Bigfoot would be out there. There's a bunch of houses right there, by people. And but they didn't realize is all those houses that were back there in the video are empty. They've been abandoned. So that whole little area there, except for a few people that have stuck to their guns, didn't move away because of all the activity. The horse thing, like I said, he didn't tell me much more than that the Bigfoots would always come and mess with his animals, but they had never tried to kill any of them. But he said when they'd come too close, the guy would shoot his gun in the air, So who knows if they took that as, you're going to pull out your gun, huh? Okay. And out of, vengeance, did that to the horse because it didn't take it with them. The leg was over, still there, but not connected to the horse.
They just killed it to kill it.
Yeah. And they find goats like that too. The goats, their heads are just, twisted, and they really don't like people being anywhere near their area. So when I went looking for it, the Bigfoot, if you're looking that way towards the irrigation ditch where it walked, it was walking from left to right, from my point of view. And so I went that way. I went there, and on the left, towards the left, is another little stream ravine that had a bunch of trees and foliage in that one area, but it looks like there's two. I'd have to point it out while it's playing, but there was two more in those bushes, which I think that's why the other Bigfoot tried to distract by going that other direction. I think they were possibly the juveniles that were there with their mammy.
Do you think it was juveniles that did that?
No, I don't think it was the juveniles that did that. I think that was one of the full-grown scary ones.
It's terrifying to think a juvenile could do that. That would mean a full-grown one would be way stronger.
Yeah, No, definitely. But just that specific day when I went chasing the Sasquatch, down towards the irrigation ditch, I think that before I happened, it was a mom and a couple of juveniles in the area, and she told them to stay there. I'm gonna walk this way and have them follow me this way. But I followed tracks and evidence that led me the other way.
Well, you were out in areas like this. Have you ever really felt like you've been threatened by them?
In that area, when I found the beer cans, I did feel like a ominous feeling, because we knew they were out there right near us. That's the one where I took some pictures, and they're like evil-looking Bigfoots with, like I said, real sinister grins and the eyebrows all pissed off like that, But just watching like, and I mean, just like that. I'll send you the pictures tomorrow or tonight or something. But I gotta go through a bazillion photos to get to them. But yeah, the only other time that I ever felt threatened was in 2003 when I threw a rock at one, and it chased me. So
who knew?
Well, you can throw a rock at me, are you?
No, but it started. It came and scared the crap out of me. My friend, we're out UFO watching, and this one was a juvenile. It was only like at most like 6 feet, I would say 6.5 feet tall. But at the moment it happened, it walked on the gravel road we were standing on. We couldn't see it in the pitch black, and it started pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Have you ever been in law enforcement or security or bouncer? When somebody's trying to build up courage to do something, and it's a progression, of just more intense until they're like, all right, I'm pumped, I'm gonna do it now, and so that's what I was getting, because it started pacing faster and faster back and forth, and we threw rocks at it and we missed, and then the second time around that I grabbed the big old rock and just closed my eyes and listened to the footsteps, I used my mind's eye to throw the rock this time, and I knocked the crap out of it with it, and it screamed, wah! And then me and Mike were like, we gotta go, and we took off running.
Not the time.
Yeah. And right, and because I was way heavier, I thought I was running really fast, but I wasn't. So when we got closer to the house with the floodlight, I looked to my left real quick, and I could see it just like comfortably galloping on the left side of me, on all fours, and it just looked at me, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I sped it up to like 4 miles per hour. And
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
In your mind, you're like moving like Usain Bolt, but in reality, you're like,
yeah. I was doing it like the movies. In the movies, they make you run slow to show that you're running fast. So I figured it might work,
Jesus, did you hear chariots of fire playing inside your head too?
Or the sound effect from the Bionic Man.
It was scary. It was scary as hell, because after we ran up onto the deck, it tackled the deck. Like it went, like that on the right side of it, and then it ran around to the other side and boom, hit it again. And that's when we finally got back inside the house and closed the door and closed the blinds and said 38 Hail Marys and just counted our blessings. But that was the only time that I really felt in danger from them. All the other times it's just been more like, oh, cool, or it's just so fascinating to me. Yeah. But other than that, I've never felt threatened. Besides that,
would you mind if I showed part of that Navajo video of yours where you filmed them from a distance?
Sure. Feel free.
All right, I'm gonna show just a few minutes of that, and a few seconds of that, and you can tell us about it. Let me share the screen here.
Okay.
Let me fire that up. You guys watch in the background, you'll see him moving.
Oh yeah.
How far away were you when you started shooting this footage?
Quarter mile. from the highway. So that was with
how many do you think were down there?
3, at least 3. So as it walks to the right, there's like a little hill of dirt that it walks behind, and it goes all the way to the right, and then it I guess squats down and sneaks to the left and is poking his head up, watching us. Which I tell people, because they're like, it's probably just some native dude out there walking. It's like, one, it was the middle of summer, and I don't know no 7-foot, 8-foot tall natives that live on that res that wear all black from head to toe. Thinker Thunker did a video on this, and he believes that it's real. It was actual Sasquatch too. So that's when they dropped me up, and I took off walking, following the ravine to your left. You can't see it, but there's all those trees right there, and then right behind those trees are houses and a cliff, a major cliff, huge. It goes upwards, and yeah, they were there. There was all kinds of stuff going on that day.
I'm going to go back to the beginning so you can see that walking again. That's a great video, dude.
Thank you, brother.
I mean, it moves just like Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hey, I don't know if you still can, but yeah, if I send you a picture, will you be able to show it, or?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead and send me a
Okay,
picture.
because I have a picture I had enhanced. I had zoomed in and cropped, when it was peeking over the dirt. I'm looking for it right now. Peeking over the dirt, and I enhanced the crap out of it, and I was able to bring out a face. And let's see.
Penny Van had a great comment. She says, look at the huge distance it cleared in a short time, too. It was clipping along.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Ken Calloway says people don't usually dress in all black, especially during the middle of the day.
Yeah, that's I was trying to explain to people that were just, it's just a person. Meh. Okay, so right here would be the first enhancement of it, where you start to see the face. So I'm going to send that to you first while I find the other one. And sent. Okay.
While you're looking for that, Jesus, I watched, I guess it was your latest video where you were talking about, or no, it was one of the other ones when you were doing the comparison and talking about what's his name that claimed to be the guy that was in a suit in the video. Can't remember what his name is. Dude, the way you broke that down and did all the comparison of the muscles and talked about the fact that he had old beer belly.
Yeah,
That's the
sorry,
that's
go ahead.
the head sticking up.
Yeah. That would be the head. Bigfoot. Yeah, and I just sent, earlier I sent to DA some pictures of Patty's face and a new thing that I found out about Patty, but let me get to this. Okay, here we go. I think I found it now.
Did anyone else see an Ewok in that picture?
All right.
There's those Patty images you mentioned.
Yep. Okay, so here's a cleaned up version of that last one I just showed you.
Okay, let me grab that one and download it. I'll have to stop sharing for just a second. Oh wow, you can really see the face on that one.
Yeah.
Let me bring that one up. Give me just a second. Okay. Sorry, folks. It's taking me just a second. There we go. Check that out.
Definitely has a cone head.
Yeah, it's definitely got the sagittal crest.
Yep.
And you can even see like the nose and the eyes.
Yep. And that was it peeking over the hill. Like, not that many hairy natives out there, honestly, that are, like full native. Of course, nobody's pure 100%, but yeah, usually facial hair is kind of hard to grow, and if it is grown, it's real thin, barely here and there.
That's wild, dude.
Right. And the Patty picture that I sent was MK Davis had put out a new video of the best, clearest picture of Patty's face. That he was.
And I'll bring that up right now too.
Right. And I enhanced it and do what I do, and I was able to notice that on the mouth, because she's growling. When they took the picture, you can see her mouth. She's growling. You can see the teeth on the right of the mouth. And I was wondering why I could see the teeth to the right, and then it closes, and then it opens. So I, cleaned it up, like I said, and I could see that there's some type of bandage holding the upper and lower mouth together, and there's like a stretchy piece going like under a bridge, you could say, so it could still open slightly, I guess, to eat or something. But I gotta wonder who did the bandage, who sewed her up, because that's not something you'd put on there if you're like trying to make a fake mask or something. That would make no sense. I showed it to a doctor, well, one of my doctors, and I just had zoomed in like zoomed into just the mouth area where that bandage was, and I asked, what would this bandage, be for? And they said for, severe facial trauma. And then I said, what about this little thing that goes underneath? I go, why is it like that? And they said, well, usually that part right there is stretchy, so they can still open their mouth to eat, but it won't let them completely open their mouth too far where it'll, mess them up and hurt themselves again. And then I zoomed out.
Go ahead.
Oh, I zoomed out and showed the whole face, and the doctor, their eyes opened really wide and go, is that a Bigfoot? And I was like, yeah. Then I changed the subject real quick. But what were you saying?
So did you catch the game the other day?
So you think it was wearing some sort of bandage on its face?
Yes.
Who would have bandaged it? Do you think they're smart enough to do stuff like that themselves?
I think so. But then, like I said, it kind of ties together with Patty's arm. Remember, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I talked about the scar on her arm. It looks like a P.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a branding on her arm. So I'm wondering whoever did that branding is possibly the same who did this, maybe. Somebody in this group is either, they're it's hard to explain. Like I said, what if they're being treated like cattle by whoever, aliens or whatever you want to call them? Yeah, just like if you've got a rancher that has, his bovines out there and one of them's injured, they'll go out there and take care of it, bandage it up, whatever it needs, so it doesn't, get any worse.
Yeah.
So that's all I could imagine, unless, like I said, Dave figured out a way to do surgical bandages. So that's why, like, if the original picture, if you go watch MK Davis's video, right in the nostril, there's some more white. So it looks like that it goes from all the way across the chin and straight up into the nostril. The bandage goes into the nose.
It's astounding how much detail came out of this image.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, if you zoom in right in the middle, where the mouth is, the teeth, that middle part, right there? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Now you can see how the bandage goes underneath that little bridge. Bless you. Underneath. Yeah, so that part right there, the doctor said, would be stretchy. So that's why it growled at them. She looked over at them and went, but couldn't open her mouth all the way because of that bandage. Yeah.
That is wild.
I'm sorry for pressing the censor button there. The censor button and the mute my mic button so I can sneeze button are right next to each other.
Yeah, it opens up. It's like, how is this possible if it is being done by whoever it is? They know Bigfoots are real. It's just like that footprint. That's all deformed. They found, remember? It's all crippled. The foot. That foot. Same thing. You know, it's like it's stuff like that to me shows that it's not just some dude in a suit. And if it was a dude in a suit, how could they even? Why would they want to put that on there?
Right. Exactly.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
And put that picture up again, DA, and check this question, this comment from Penny Van out. It honestly looks like bloody hair and debris, as if she had facial bleeding as she was fleeing. And if you look at it underneath where that bandage is, Jesus, it looks like there's like some dried streaks of blood there. Because you can see soft tissue swelling and everything right there.
Right. But do you agree that that doesn't look like something a mask should have on it?
Right. That's not something you would think to put on a mask.
Yeah. The fact that you could see the swelling in that specific area too.
Well, that would just increase the level of complexity for the mask in the first place.
That's not something that you can put on a mask in that time frame.
Yeah,
maybe
especially
today,
in 1967. Yeah,
maybe today somebody thinks about something like that, but
right.
In 1967 they're not making masks that detailed.
One of the biggest budget movies of its day was Planet of the Apes, and look, you know, those masks are laughable by modern standards. Yet the Patterson-Gimlin footage is still practically you can't duplicate it.
Well, look at you can see where the hair goes into the pores around the edge of the mouth and things like that.
You can see open. Yeah, you can see pores up there in the corner, the right side, upper right corner of the mouth up above that. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you're not getting that level of detail on a mask. And that video I was talking about while Jesus was looking for that picture, he talks about that, the musculature of the leg. You're not in 1967. They're not thinking about making a calf muscle look as defined, and you're just not going to see that. I mean, look at the strands of hair. I mean, the hair that they used for stuff back then did not look that realistic. Like DA said, look at the
mask, dude.
Yeah, look at the Planet of the Apes, the hair on that. I mean, you can.
Oh yeah. You can tell that was a bunch of latex. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to imitate soft tissue swelling, and like DA said, with a mask, you got to have a lot of complexity there.
Well, if you not the one that was so well handled. If you zoom this one back in, you can see the individual teeth in it. You can see the spaces in between the teeth.
Absolutely,
especially on the top.
Yep.
Damn, that's crazy.
That is wild.
And
go ahead. I was going to say,
I heard somebody the other day talk about one of the big sticking points is they were talking about her feet were white, and that proves. And they were like, dude, it was a limestone road she was walking across. That was limestone dust on the bottom of her feet that made her feet turn white. And I'm like, really? Right. That's the straws they're grasping at now, is because the bottom of her feet was white. That means it's a suit.
Jesus, can you tell us a little bit about this image?
That one right there?
Mm-hmm.
So there was they're called hot shots, and they go out into the fires, in the forest, And this woman, she had just, I guess, started that job, doing, that, and they were out trying to put out I believe it was the Cree fire, and yeah, while they're out there, they found all these tracks, and something else happened that it spooked her so bad that she quit. She no longer does that for a living, and yeah, somebody had sent it to me on Facebook, and then I ended up contacting her and asking her what had happened, and yeah, she was still pretty disturbed from the whole thing, and saying that she was getting all kinds of things, people calling that didn't have her number, and yeah, she had to like get out of it, telling people anymore.
Yeah, that's not the only time I've ever heard stories of people finding tracks and actually seeing creatures around forest fires.
Yep. Oh, definitely. It was like they wouldn't say, but one of the helicopter pilots for that fly over the fires to tell people, the headquarters, which directions it's going or whatever. He said that he had saw a bunch of animals running out together into an open field from the forest fire. A lot of animals that would normally be eating each other were running together, and amongst those running animals were several Bigfoot running as well out of the forest, So, yeah, it definitely affects all the Bigfoots too. Whenever there's fires, they can't, like, if all Bigfoots were able to jump in and out of a dimension, I'd do that instead of having to run from the fire.
Right.
So that's why I think that only a special few Sasquatch have those abilities that we have that have been reported, the strange stuff.
But it was pointed out by somebody that the stories that of them, what they call the woo, they're going through portals and things like that, is less than 3% of actual recordings.
Yep.
So you really can't back a theory with less than 3% of the data.
Right.
When 97% of the data is saying these are physical creatures, maybe we ought to look at them being physical creatures. We've gone to great lengths on this channel to explain possible ways that would explain why some of these things happen, why people say that they just seem to disappear before your eyes. Adaptive camouflage is a thing. Some people say, why do the tracks stop in the middle of nowhere? Backtracking on your tracks is a thing. These are all things that we've tried to logically point out. But we still get a lot of resistance on that.
Right. No, definitely.
Yeah, well, it's just like, and you and I talked about this weekend, Jesus. I mean, it's like, why does that have to be? You see it. You can't get from point A to point Z without going through B through X. You have to.
Right.
You have to go through these other steps and eliminate. You can't just say A tracks disappear, that Z they went through a portal. You can't. That's not how you investigate things. That's not how you prove things.
Right.
Which is what we try to do here, is look at all the aspects, and then it's like, is it Chekhov's theory where it says if you've eliminated all the logical, then you look at the illogical?
Right.
Right. Well, one of my hypotheses on how they can disappear in front of your eyes, not really right in front of you, but for wherever you're seeing it in the slight distance, is I think that because they're so smart and they're able to think like us, you could say, versus just an animal. If they know how to use their infrasound to their advantage, and they're able to adjust the frequencies, and if they know humans as well as I believe they do, then it's been passed down and taught to each generation. What if they're able to use that infrasound frequency vibration to make all of the hair on their body vibrate at a speed that the human eye can no longer see? And
also, a lot of researchers have been collecting clear hair follicles.
Yeah,
And those
exactly.
they operate just like in fiber optic, just like you would, it picks us up and redirects the light around it. MK
Yep.
Davis did the breakdown on the Freeman footage, and we actually
Yep.
watched the footage here on the show. You see a large black Sasquatch stop in front of a tree and just disappear. And it didn't cloak, it didn't go through a portal, it just blended into its surroundings. And as soon as Freeman started moving toward it again, it took off. And as soon as it moved, you could see it again. But when it froze and stopped dead in its tracks, you just lost complete sight of it.
And I had that same phenomenon happen to me and Johnny when we were. He tells me to turn around and look, and I think I even told you this story, Jesus, this weekend. We were looking up the hill. I was looking at it from one angle. He was looking at it from another angle. The sun was right over top of it. I saw a darker, almost black color. He saw a lighter, almost honey brown to a blonde color. But we were looking at the exact same thing. It's just the way the light was hitting it and what it had around it. It made us both see different colors.
Yep. Exactly.
Gentlemen, I need to step away for just a moment. Can you guys cover for me for just a minute?
No.
Never.
No.
So one thing I do want to touch on, which we discussed last time when it was the four of us and Steve, I believe, was ghillie suits, right?
Yep.
So that's a man-made camouflage, right? That we don't naturally have our own camouflage, right? So I personally own a ghillie suit. It's sitting right over in my closet. I need to defrock it a little bit because it's got a bunch of random extra gunk in it. But if I put that on and you take a camera and you watch me walk into the woods, at a certain point, I'm no longer visible.
Yep.
At a certain point, you have no idea where I am.
Well, remember the pictures we put up of when I was up there doing my investigation in my area, Noah? Remember we flashed one about me and just the old woodland camouflage where I was standing still. If I hadn't had a black shirt on, you couldn't have seen you could see my lower half. You could see my top. And that was just a picture of me standing there in the woods. But that's how camouflage is supposed to work. So if we can teach Noah, for example, to take his ghillie suit and disappear in the woods, what is something that is born with a natural ghillie suit?
Natural camouflage.
With natural adaptive camouflage. What can it do?
And before anyone makes the argument of, oh, well, it's size, you'd still be able to see it. Polar bears. A polar bear can sneak up on you in the ice. One of those things, it's white, the ice is white, the snow is white, like those things can sneak up on you. So
tell them, well, what color is a polar bear if you shaved all of its hair off?
Isn't it black?
Yep. But what color does it have to blend into?
White.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears white because that's what it's.
I just sent the pictures, two sets of pictures to you, showing how the Bigfoot's standing next to the foliage or a tree, how they look just like that. There's the little it looks like a chimpanzee face because it's a juvenile, and they're under some leaves. And when you zoom in on the actual being, I did send the second one with the circle around it. You'll see that literally the face is solid green, the same exact color as the leaves around it. And then the other picture is of a Bigfoot standing next to a tree trunk, and it looks like it's part of the tree, like part tree trunk. Mm-hmm. It looks like almost like a Groot, you know. So those pictures right there show, just like you were saying, that they, whatever they're next to, they pick up that light and color in that spectrum.
I mean, it's like the video that MK Davis had, you know, where it was moving and then it stopped and then it started moving again. And you're like, where the hell did it go? And when it started moving again, you saw it had just stopped moving.
Yep, that's the one right there, those two. If you zoom in on the face, you'll see it's green. It's making a distressed face. It's going, woo, like that. And yeah, you're just not able to see them when you're out there and they're blending like that.
That's a chimpanzee?
It's not a chimpanzee. It's a juvenile Sasquatch. A lot of the ones that I've seen juveniles, they look like chimps. But I guess they grow into their faces. They grow older, and their ears, they go into their ears, and I've heard lots of reports too of other people that have seen juveniles, and they always say that they have a chimpish face. You know, they look chimpish.
Well, it makes sense.
Well, but it all makes sense when you start thinking about it. Just like we showed the video of the doll sheep. Where you see what we asked everybody, and I think the highest number we got was what 7 DA.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the highest number we paused the video and said, "All right, how many sheep you see in the video?" And the highest number we got was 7. And then there's like 30 plus when whoever was taking the video fires and misses, and they all jump up. There's like 30 of them hiding in plain sight, just like the Harry and the Hendersons movie, where they put the extras in the costumes with no CGI, no camera tricks, and just said, "Stand still, don't move until Kevin Peter Hall walks by. Don't move." And even knowing that's going to happen, I've watched that movie 100 times since that has happened, or since I knew that was going to happen, and you still can only see 1 or 2 of them, even if you know they're there. That is adaptive camouflage in action that humans actually recreated out of nature.
Yep.
Trying to find that doll sheep video. I may not have it anymore.
I looked for it the other day because I was looking for it was going to show Jesus while I was down at the conference, but I couldn't find it.
A second. I think I know how to run it down, but
So I'm not an expert on apes or any sort of monkey, hominid, whatever, right? Is the reason why their snouts are longer when they're juveniles and then they start to squash? Like, does that have to do with like their jaws? Like, do they have to have the extra jaw space and then like their skulls just kind of like expand as they get older, or like what's the deal with that?
Part of the sagittal crest is attachment points for a much more powerful jaw muscle.
Okay.
Well, it's like when you see humans, our ears stay a certain size, and then as we get older, they kind of grow longer. Our noses grow slightly bigger as we get older. The older the human is, the more brow ridge grows. So when you get the Sasquatch from, say, like when they're 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall, they look more chimpish. And I could understand that as their sagittal crest forms, because adults usually have the sagittal crest. When they're juveniles, you don't see it. And as that muscle, I'm guessing, is growing, and the facial also
the face fills out a bit more.
Yeah, and then if you look at Patty's ear, it's a very small ear now. But when they're juveniles, their ears are like this big, so they literally just grow into their face.
Okay, I suppose that makes a bit more sense.
But I don't know for sure. I guess the thing with the whole that they can do all that weird stuff or why their faces don't grow. One day, we just gotta ask one.
So, Jesus, tell us about these images.
Okay, so those images are from in 2017 when I had those 2 Bigfoots looking in the tent, and I had a friend with me that didn't believe that Bigfoot was real, so I took them out, and they came that night, and he believed they were real. So while he was sitting underneath that's the vent hood. So if you're looking straight up, that's what you see is the vent hood. They peeled it back and we're looking in. And he was directly under it, so they were messing with him. He was freaking out, and a green-skinned, red-eyed one, I guess ET, you want to call it, was with them. So there's 3 of them all together, taking turns looking in at the tent. So you can see that's just not brightened. The other one that looks more visible is obviously I brightened it up a bunch. You can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, there.
Yeah, you can see
So,
the
yeah.
faces.
Oh yeah. My question still is, when the green-skinned, red-eyed guy was looking in, is that a 7 to 8 foot tall alien, or is it floating looking in? You know, like that little guy that used to float around like with Fred Flintstone over your shoulder.
Or might have been on the back of one of the other ones.
Very possible, just like on Mad Max with Thunderdome, that little guy on the back.
Master Blaster.
You know?
That's
Yep.
what Doc's gonna be on Noah's back.
Wait, I missed something there. I was reading up about sweet potatoes.
We're just talking about Master Blaster again, Noah.
Oh, okay, okay,
What
yeah.
Doc's gonna be on your back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
You're muted,
Yeah.
Doc.
Doc, your mic's not on.
I missed every one of those insults you just
All right.
slung at me.
I said, of course, my name was brought up with Master Blaster. I appreciate that.
Yep. So those pictures of the faces in the tent, one of the faces that is on the left, I cleaned up, as much as I could, and then I mirrored it so you could see the whole face. And I did the same thing with the ET looking in. I cut it and mirrored it so we could see the.
I was gonna ask if you was gonna show that one.
Yeah, I just sent them to him right now.
I think this is about the point that I was like, "Oh my god!" when you showed me this one.
Let me get those downloaded, then I'll get them shared.
But yeah, that where those pictures were taken is my main research area that I've been studying for 15 years in. So they all know who I am. They know that I'm not there to do anything wrong and hurt them. And I know that because I can't see them letting juveniles and their infants be within even 50 yards of me. You know what I mean? But
okay, so we got this one here. Oops, going the wrong direction. These are the ones we looked at before.
There we go.
Yoicks!
Where'd you guys get this picture of my ex?
You sound like Woods.
That must have been my ex's sister. Was your ex?
I think there may be a tiny bit of an age difference.
Right. Yeah,
That's
the
pretty
mirrored. Yep, that's the mirrored image that I cut in half.
That's wild.
The first thing that came to mind when I saw that one was just like, "Hey, are you gonna finish those fries?"
Right.
Dude, these are incredible photos, dude.
Thanks, brother. So can you zoom in on that one you just were at? Back up one?
That one?
Right there? Can you zoom in as much as you can? There you go. Now you can really see the face.
Yep.
Looking in.
There's a mouth here, kind of the nose. And an
you
eye
can
there.
almost see you almost can see the other eye through the material. That I've seen the grays with the big black eyes and the gray skin in person multiple times throughout my life, but I've never seen the green skinned red eyed ones. So that's not normal for me to see those guys. So you can see that. You see those lines right there? All those little lines? That's the mesh screen.
On the tent?
For the vent hood, yeah. So it was hard to enhance it with all those stupid screen in the way, and from where I was sitting, my angle, I couldn't see anything. I knew they were out there, and they peeled back the tent hood, and one of them reached under the tent, and one pressed his hand against the tent, so I knew they were there, and he was freaking out, but yeah, from my angle, I couldn't see real well because of the flashlight making it reflect. So not until I got home and zoomed in and added contrast and sharpened it and all that stuff did I realize what I had got. You didn't see it, Steve.
No, DA. That looks like a Bigfoot That looks like the one that comes after us in the game.
Nope.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
True.
Nope.
You can see the teeth on that one, the individual teeth.
Yep.
Nope.
That is
Dude,
when
these are amazing images.
the Bigfoot has spotted your plate.
That's when you hope
Right.
you got your brown pants on.
That is definitely a brown pants moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a SOCOM moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's it at? Where's it? Okay, good, got it.
Good Lord.
But yeah, I invited them there that day, that afternoon before that happened. I knew they were in the area because we were tree knocking back and forth. And I just yelled to them. And it was like, hey, come on down. He doesn't think you're real. Come visit us. Say what's up. So I gave the invite. And they came. They understand English to an extent, I'm guessing, because they've been around for so long and watching us and hearing us speak, for hundreds of years.
And that brings up an important question, Jesus. And there's been a lot of speculation on this as far as their own language. Do they have their own tribal language?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They definitely do. And like on one of my videos, the first one I have called Tule Creek Bigfoot, you can hear one of them say bush like that in the middle of me talking and pointing to one of the structures they had built. And then another time, one of them says when I was in that same area, we're walking towards that area where I just talked about, and one of them said, come this way, like that. So I know they can speak. They can.
You think they're actually speaking English or just mimicking sounds they've heard before?
Isn't that what we're doing?
Well,
True, but there's a difference between making the sound and having the intent.
so this is something that I actually feel like I'm fairly qualified to chime in on,
Okay.
only because like I've studied languages for how long at this point, Dad? Probably since freshman year of high school. So the thing with a lot of other languages and like people who are coming to speaking English like from never having spoken English before is a lot of the time when someone will like say something, the foreign speaker will associate that with the action they are performing, not necessarily what they're saying. So at first it's not exactly like a cognitive like knowledge of what you're doing. It's more of like this person said, hey, come over here, and that person started coming over there. So obviously that means if I say this thing, they'll start coming this way, right? So it's not necessarily like they fully understand what they're saying until they start hearing more and more and more of it. You know what I mean?
Right. So when it said bush, this is the thing that it was thinking, because while we were filming, I was showing with the camera, I was showing the structure they had built, and I called it I go, and this is their structure, and it corrected me. It said bush. So it was able to think hard enough and understand that I was calling that what they built something they didn't like it being called, and let me know that it's a bush, not a structure. I couldn't see them like the way it said it the other time when it said the come this way, is it literally sounded like a native talking. I'm related to a bunch of them. I've lived on many reservations.
Yeah.
And, the way it was said was just straight up. I can't see it just repeating one time of hearing that, because it didn't stand there and wave me over. Come here, come this way. It just said it, because it knows I was looking around. I was looking for something, with them, and they told me to come this way, and then they proceeded. Go ahead.
You think they speak the native dialect too, native tongue?
Oh yeah. Well, like earthquake. One of the things, like when you go out hunting on the res, you're supposed to hit your grandfather drum, boom, 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 because it's kind of like a unwritten, unspoken agreement. You're letting all the Sasquatch know you're going to be out there hunting. You know, so they understand a lot more than we really think that we said, and just like how we learn how to understand our language, just like you were saying, you learn it. You know, they say they're holding up a bowl and they go, this food is good, and somebody else is holding a banana and they're eating it. Food, oh food. Hey, go get the food. You know, then they're gonna know that word food means food. So at what point do you call it mimicking versus being cognitive and wanting food? You know what I'm saying? Just
their
process. That's how we learn.
Yeah, they're processing that.
This is kind of like the thing in 13th Warrior. Michael Crichton kind of talked about it in the book. Well, the book is a little bit different than the movie, but in the movie, Antonio Banderas' character gets sent off with the Vikings. He has zero clue of their language, but he sits there night after night after night in their camp, just listening to them talk, picking up the language. And that always kind of, it's kind of one of the mind-blowing things that he can just sit there and listen to them in the camp at night and just pick up their language, and where he can actually start having a conversation with them. So
right.
I guess it's kind of that same thing. If they've been listening to us for thousands of years while we've been in the woods, I guess it's possible that they picked up on certain things in our language, and then you build from that.
Right.
Well, that's kind of another part of what I was touching on is like, look at ravens, right? Like ravens have been around people long enough to where like they've picked up a few words that people will say. And like there's been studies like done where it's like the ravens actually understand what they are saying. So like at a certain point, after hearing something long enough and understanding the actions that are associated with something being said, you develop an actual like conscious understanding of what it is. So like with ravens, like hell, there are ravens that are in our neighborhood that you can ask Dad. They'll bring shiny rocks onto our porch every now and then, right? But every once in a while, I'll go outside, and from the tree above me, I'll hear, "Hey," and I'll look up and be like, "What the hell?" And there's just ravens up there.
Right. That question right there from Corey Cole, do you think they have shamans? I think they do. They're just like any other tribe. Maybe be Native Americans, Indians, whatever you want to call them, versus themselves, which they're another tribe. And that picture I sent you, DA, from earlier, that's next to the Bigfoot tent images of the Sasquatch next to that tree trunk. It's wearing some type of regalia or like bone necklace. You can actually see it. It's wearing that, and usually, I would say that one that we'll be looking at is a shaman. I've seen several now that are wearing necklaces out there, and that would also explain how, like, with us, we got our own medicine man, and only the medicine man is able to have certain abilities versus the rest of the tribe. It's like we have some people that are psychic, some people that it is, but they don't all have that gift. Just like it's very possible for Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, any of those guys to dunk a basketball. I'm human as well, but I'm not dunking nothing but net.
So there's a different there's a hierarchy in these tribes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure. Dee's had a question for you.
That's cool.
Said, what do you think? Would you go as far to say there are different species, types of Bigfoots all over the U.S.? And also, what's your take on Wendigos?
I believe the Bigfoot species itself is as diverse as humans in differences in looks and height. There's some Sasquatch that look very aboriginal. There's some that have been described as looking like a normal human, but just 8 feet tall and hairier. So they have human features, regular human features, and some. This one lady that saw one, she said that she's embarrassed to say, but that one of the ones she saw was attractive to her. She found him attractive. He was a handsome Bigfoot, and so definitely there's different. I don't want to say there's different species, but I definitely think that through the thousands of years of mating and breeding, with different ones, some humans they've mated with, and some of them have no one else to mate with in their circle, so they've inbred. Another group over here, so definitely there's many different ones. And as for the Wendigos, they're out there. I haven't run into any myself, but I have no reason to not think that they exist. There's just too many sightings and old, legends about them.
I think a great example of species difference, a variety in the same species, is black bears. Look at East Coast versus West Coast bears. Black bears. They're the same species, but they look very different from each other.
Exactly.
African and Indian elephants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots of differences between those two. Look at all the different variations of tigers. Between
Look at the different variations of deer.
Bengals. Yeah.
Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. Exactly. So definitely that's why I think we see so many variations of them. You said you got some blonde ones, you got black hair ones, you got auburn hair ones, you got full-on white ones. So, just
I'm not
they're
falling
like us.
Ken.
They are more like us than we like to accept, except for they're superhuman.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
DA, could you bring up the picture of the Bigfoot standing next to the tree trunk? Like there should be just by between the green chimpanzee face one and the tent photos. I think it's in between those ones. It's in 3 versions of it. One with everything in the picture. One there you go. That's it right there. Yeah. So the Bigfoot is to the left of that tree trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Exactly. Okay. And then it's a little closer up. If you zoom in, please. Then I isolated it and took out all the stuff around it. But if you look at it, see this closer you come in, you can see more face and that it's wearing something around its neck, which looks like I said, like it's made out of bones of some sort.
Looks like a breastplate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see
almost
eyes,
like
nose,
the
mouth.
Apache breastplates they used to wear that were made out of bone.
Oh no, you know what that reminds me of, DA?
That movie Primal.
Get that man a cigar.
You know what that reminds me of, Robbie?
Well,
Yeah,
about half past time, right, Noah?
Oh yeah.
It also reminds me of Josh Turner last weekend. With all his gold chains and everything,
Night, Naoma.
Can I miss Naoma?
He was definitely blinged out, wasn't he? Jesus.
Yep. I kept on accidentally calling him Mr. T.
Roxanne Delgado says, Jesus, do you feel when there is inbreeding that there could be the reason for some being more aggressive?
Oh, why not? I don't see why not. And what if they're eating brains, of each other or humans, and causing mad sasquatch disease? There's all kinds of different reasons that they could be mad. But I think part of the reason for the really angry ones is a lot of them hate humans because we're the ones that get to be out and enjoying, all this, what we consider, awesome life, technologies and all that. And they've been told to stay in the forest and not to be around here. So, yeah, some of the Bigfoots just resent the hell out of us. And then there's the other hippie Bigfoots that want to just, protect us and help people out of jams and stuff. Yeah, I think there's a lot to why the ones that are mean. There's a percentage of they're just crazy, they've gone crazy, or it has to do more of a psychological situation, versus the ones that actually just hate humans and want to eat them.
I think the bear analogy applies The same here.
Grizzly.
Like grizzly bears, there's sometimes you can have an interaction with a grizzly bear where it basically just ignores you and goes on its way. But then you
Yep.
catch even that same grizzly bear right before hibernation, or if it's got cubs, and you're chow.
Yep. For sure. Well, it just reminds me of the Anobia. The Anobia?
Yeah,
Bigfoot?
Honibee.
Yeah, the Honibee.
Siege at Honibee.
Wrong.
Yeah, well,
Honibee.
it's Oklahoma, man. You never know how they're going to pronounce stuff.
Right? Those sound like some really pissed off Sasquatches in that area.
Yeah, they were definitely
You know?
pissed off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they need some
Sorry.
time.
Piggybacking off of that, remember our topic from Saturday, right?
Mhm.
Coming home, I had to kill some time. About 9 hours away. I had 3 credits on Audible, so I had to get a book. Well, the thing that topped off on my wish list was a book called Bigfoot Hunters. Take a wild guess what that book was about. An entire Bigfoot clan that was infected with rabies.
Nice.
What a strange coincidence.
Yeah, and I didn't read the or actually I did read the intro, but it said nothing about them being infected with rabies. And I got to listen through this, and I'm like, wow, this is what we were just talking about. And then we just started talking about it again.
Right.
You talk about a scary situation, an entire clan of Bigfoot infected by rabies. And I'm not talking about the early stages. The book starts where they're already at the Cujo point, where they're already loud noises are hurting their ears and lights in their eyes, and they're just wanting to kill everything. That's where the book starts.
Yep.
That's wild. I may have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Robbie, I mentioned the Blair Witch to you, right?
Yes. I was hoping you were going to talk about this.
Yeah. So I have
I didn't tell them any of that part. So this is going. I wanted you to.
So the director of the film The Blair Witch Project also made the movie Exist after the Blair Witch Project. And when I watched the Blair Witch Project, I was watching it, with the knowledge I have on Bigfoot hunting and all the stuff I found. And what I saw was a crazy female Bigfoot making little stick figures of her family. And anybody that goes up into those mountains, because I think what possibly could have happened was that female Sasquatch, the husband and the rest of her kids were killed by hunters. So anytime anybody goes up on that mountain to camp or whatever, she torments them. You can hear her screaming, in the night, throwing rocks out at the tent, pushing on the tent and making a bunch of little stick figures of her family and putting them all around wherever the campers are to let them know that it's them that she's so pissed off that, because these are her family that were killed. And she tries to represent them that way, and then if you get lucky, you won't get eaten, and you get to go home. But to me, that's what I thought. She went crazy. The last Bigfoot in that area, all her family was gone, and so she's like 100-year-old, pissed off, PTSD-filled Sasquatch.
That makes the movie make a whole different. It makes sense in a whole different way.
Right, and when you look at all the different things that are happening in that, I could relate a million stories, reports to what was going on in the movie. The disappearing, being able to run around in the middle of the dark, and all that stuff that we know Bigfoots do.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely.
When you think about the connection between the same director and, like Jesus said, some of that stuff that you start. Because think about some of the people that we know as witnesses have talked about the things they've heard Bigfoot do, making those sounds and things like that. It's not a far stretch to believe that could be what was going on. And maybe this director's actually had some kind of encounter that he just don't want to tell about, and he's kind of shoehorned it into a couple of his movies.
Yeah, well, that's what I think, that like if he did the Blair Witch, knowing that was the actually what was really going on, But like you said, at the time, he wasn't ready to try to put that out there like that. And yeah, after the Blair Witch happened, a lot of directors and actors and stuff, once they've reached the level that they've been trying to get to, that's when they're able to do their pet projects and stuff that they like, not care what anybody else thinks. And that's when you'll see a movie of one of your favorite actors, you're like, this movie's kind of sucks.
Vanity project.
Mm-hmm. Willow Creek is another really good Bigfoot movie, and that was directed by Bob Goldthwait. But you've watched that movie, the last 10 minutes of that movie are just absolutely freaking terrifying.
And
it explains why Bob Goldthwait directed Willow Creek
from Police Academy.
How you doing?
That's him.
Yep. That's the
he
one.
doesn't really talk like that either, does he, DA?
No, I was watching an interview with him, and he was just talking normal, and they asked him about Police Academy, and he goes, to be honest, I was drunk and high when I made those movies, and I look back at those scripts, and even I don't know what the hell I was saying.
But that's the only movie he talked like that in. He talked like that in a lot of stuff back then.
Yeah, well, that was his shtick.
It may have been after Police Academy, but
yeah, he did his stand-up like that for the longest time.
I think that was cocaine. Just being honest, he was on a shitload of cocaine, and that's why he's like, just wired all the hell out, I mean, Jim Belushi, all them fools.
Rick James said it. Cocaine is a
hell of a drug. Yep.
Well, it dang near killed Richard Pryor.
So Bigfoot, yeah.
It's like I was out in the woods and this big guy, he came over. And he's like, how you doing?
Big feet. Yep.
I did not see this go in that direction when I mentioned Willow Creek.
Well, we ever see anything going in the right direction?
But my point was that Willow Creek is kind of one of those movies like Blair Witch. It's really an intense movie, but the last 10 minutes of that movie will freak you the hell out.
Yep. Well, it's just like Bone Tomahawk. You guys have seen that?
I love that film.
God.
But it is absolutely horrifying in parts.
Yeah.
I hate the one scene. And DA knows what scene, and Doc too. They know what scene I'm talking about.
When they split that old boy in half.
Oh God! When they quartered that guy, I was like, "Yep, that's it. I'm done."
Yep. And you know when you hear that the sound they make, did you hear it in the distance? That whistly screaming.
Kind of like that Mayan death whistle.
Mayan death whistle.
Yes, exactly.
But the fact that they had surgically implanted it into their necks was absolutely freaky.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I could deal with the entire movie. I mean, that was disgusting. Don't get me wrong, but I could deal with the entire movie. Just that one scene, I was like, oh, okay, this too much. Hanging this guy upside down, naked, and drawing and quartering him like a horse or a cow or something. I was
yeah. Well, that's the thing. The story that was based on was talking about Bigfoot, but they never at any point say that in the movie. And of course it's a movie, so they added here and there to that.
So that was based on a true story?
I believe so, yeah. In that area. Old, yeah. So the noise that they make, they had to, whoever made the movie, the creative license, and to make it look cooler or joyer, they had to figure out how they could make that sound. So they're like, maybe they put one of those things in their throats or something, not realizing the vocal range of the Sasquatch, I don't think he needs a whistle.
Dang, man.
That's kind of terrifying when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. But yeah, D, I sent you those pictures of those big rocks. Those are the axes and stone tools that I found that are way too big for normal people to swing around.
Yeah, bring those up and you can explain those as well.
Okay. And I put a bill, money, a $50 bill to show the size, difference. You can see how large they are. So that one is upside down, but if you see that big old right in the middle of it, from top to bottom in the middle, that's where it would have been tied to something right there and sit on a big stick.
Yep.
That one is 14 inches long and about 10 inches wide. And that one weighed about 25 pounds.
Damn. That's way heavier than someone's going to be swinging around.
You can even see the notch where they would have had the fork of the branch or whatever tied it into.
Yep. Exactly. And it's been used. Scary. Just kidding. But but the normal size of stone axes and stone hammers used by, ancient peoples usually didn't get bigger than a couple pounds, up to maybe 10 pounds. This one's huge. That one weighs 50 pounds, and that one was 22 inches long.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, you can see all of these. You can see that where they were tied, and they're on the fronts and backs of them. You can see the use that they've been used, and they're stylized. It's not just random shapes. They're very stylized and been worked. That one's 15 inches long. That one's
obviously worked stone.
Yeah, that's not just, you don't find something like that just occurring in nature.
See how thick that one is right there? That one also weighed almost about 40 pounds. So when you get a chance, if you're near any weight sets, pick up a 45-pound plate and think about how easy it would be to swing that. Not easy at all. And then you got to think about the weight from the stick that's big enough to hold that beast.
Oh, yeah.
To hold,
that's not put on something the size of a pool cue.
Yeah, that's called a tree.
Yeah. And it would take a tremendous amount of strength to swing that. I mean, I could probably swing it. I could probably swing it once, maybe twice, but I can't imagine fighting with that.
I mean, I can't even imagine a sapling holding that kind of weight.
It would take a branch probably 6 inches around to hold that up.
Yeah.
Well, like the heavier sledgehammers, on the average sledgehammer is 14 pounds. The slightly, in the middle of the going towards the larger sledgehammers that we comfortably can use ourselves is 20 pounds. And 45, 50, 60 pound stones are just not easily swung. And I've found these I couldn't bring home because I found some that are over 200 pounds, huge. And you can see they've been worked, they've been used, and it's some wild stuff, man. They I don't even want to know what. Go ahead. Sorry.
Where'd you find these, bro?
Right down the street from my house in a creek. It's just like a gold mine of ancient stone axes, from little tiny ones all the way to 4 foot wide ones, and it's like it's like a great war happened in that area.
Man,
a great war of every size.
Next time I come down here to teach, I'm gonna look you up and let's go exploring.
Oh hell yeah! You let me know, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Without question.
Well,
that's the funny thing is, I don't hide my research areas. I don't hide none of the stuff from people. I'm happy to do research with other people, but nobody ever comes and visits me to do it.
I'll get down there to hang out with you, dude. I really do. That's a bit of a haul, but I want to go.
Well, I want to throw a conference down here in possibly Cowcroft, and I'm going to need some help putting that together. But it definitely is going to happen. I want to bring a really nice group together, and hey, you in the back. But another thing I'm going to say right now, if all the people out there in YouTube land that are watching this, I want to go to more festivals and speak and share all this stuff that I have. But like I said, unless somebody just calls me and invites me, that's the only way I've been going as of late. There's no directory of Bigfoot festivals that I know of, and paranormal festivals or conferences. But I really want to start doing more conferences.
I think we can say a little bit about what we talked about, Jesus, without saying the whole thing about there's a possibility that in the very near future that there might be something, and DA and Doc, you know what I'm talking about because I told
Yes.
you
Right.
about it. There's a possibility that, you know, and I don't want to say too much without the other person's say because it is his say, but
Right.
there was some things that talked about that if it happens, it's going to be very, very interesting for everybody. Wouldn't you say, Jesus?
Oh yeah.
So
Definitely.
y'all stay tuned. There
Yeah. So
might
if
be.
anybody out there, you know, they're looking for speakers, reach out to DA or any of these gentlemen here so they can reach out to me and let me know because I want to do my research full time. So if I can get into 1 or 2 conferences a month, that'll allow me to do everything I want to do research wise and travel wise to do all these cool things and visit other researchers and hunt with them. And that's one of my dreams, you know, to be able to do that.
Well, if you ever find yourself up Missouri way, I'll definitely take you down to Joe Bald and some of the other places around here. I took
Nice.
Doc down to Joe Bald, and that place made a believer out of him.
We in the short time we were there, we saw some weird stuff and experienced some weird stuff.
I bet.
For sure. Yeah.
So when you guys do conferences, you guys drive usually or do you fly usually?
I'm a Midwesterner. We tend to think anything less than 24 hours is driving distance.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna drive.
Well,
Yeah.
you saw I drove from South Carolina to Texas. It's almost 1,000 miles. So
Not to mention
Yep.
when I go to a conference, I take books with me, and it's tough to fly with 1,000 pounds of books.
Yeah, that's true.
I just
Yeah.
drove 6,000 miles in 3 weeks. So yeah.
Yeah. This weekend I drove 1,300 miles altogether.
And Doc would have to buy an extra ticket for his mannequin.
You're still funny. You're still funny.
Billy Mitchum said I need to do.
Somebody got a cat?
Yeah, it's my cat.
I was like, I think I hear a cat.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was a kid. I thought it was a kid going, "Hey, hey!"
Yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute, I think that's a cat.
This is Roberto, aka Bertle Beetle. Yeah.
But DA Robert D said, or not Robert D, I'm sorry, Robert Mitchum said that Billy Mitchum said I need to do a conference up here. Billy, I'm by myself up here doing a conference is probably not something that would happen. You know, because obviously most of the people that I would want to be there are, you know,
Right.
14 to 15 hours away. So, you know, if I could get some help with some other people, that might be something. Because I don't think there is a conference in South Carolina, is there, DA?
Not that I'm aware of off the top of my head. K Bowers 8111 says, "Have you had any dogman encounters?"
I only have had one for sure. Who knows how many other times I've encountered them and not knowing it and thought it was a Bigfoot or something, you know. But the one encounter I had was on my property out here when I was living in Tularosa, and I was me and my nephew. And we had a little bonfire going, and it was actually we were discussing recording ourselves discussing dogman and other things because you know we're like people had asked me about if I ever seen a dogman, and I hadn't, but I said I can't say I don't. There's not a possibility it's not real. But and then when I maybe 5 minutes after that, I got to see one run by, like we have a bunch of mesquite bush out here in the desert. So yeah, it ran silently, but yeah, it went right by the mesquite bush, green like that. I'd say that's the speed it was going, and it was gone into the darkness. And it looked about, I'd say at least minimum 7 feet tall, and it had grayish hair, like but more brunette than gray, but definitely that was the dog man. It had full on snout and everything, like it looked like a werewolf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are incredibly fast.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. See, and I had found tracks, a while back. I had found, huge, paw prints, and it didn't make sense. And something was letting out my dogs and moving. I had railroad ties, the railroad ties, like 3 or 4 of them, all on the edge of the outside of my dog's, dog run. And something was strong enough to grab those railroad ties and just put them out the way. And then the dogs would get out. And, it's happened over and over. But there would always be, like, really large, paw prints. Like, I was like, damn, that's whatever dog that was. It was huge.
Big ass
strong.
dog.
Yeah,
Boys,
and then I saw that.
I'll be right back. Got to step out again.
A word from our sponsor.
Well, that's not actually a bad idea, Doc.
Right.
Jesus, do you think that they might have been like, hey, you can't hold my kin up in here, you can't pin them up.
That's what I think. Why they keep on doing it over and over. They feel bad for the dogs, or they're hungry and they're trying to set them free so they could eat. Get to them.
Yes.
But yeah, the dogs were never messed with, hurt, or nothing. So it was either they're doing it just to be jerks and piss me off, or they're hoping the dogs would just go out and run away, and then they could go chase it.
Well, I mean, a railroad tie is not like tossing a matchstick to the side,
Oh no, those things are solid. They're heavier than hell. That's
things
why it blew my mind, because I was like, what kind of dog could move a railroad tie? Like, how would they do it? I'm imagining in my head, I'd imagine, them using their paws or trying to bite it. But there was no marks at all, no scratches on the stuff. And the railroad ties, because they're soaked in oil, you can see it if you got a screwdriver and scratch it, you can see it real well. But yeah, I ended up having to build anything that was metal and heavy around the property. I drug it, like lawnmowers and all kinds of crazy stuff, piled it all the way around the dog run just to make it a pain in the butt for whoever had been doing that to stop it.
That's crazy.
There he is.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Well, your research doesn't just go into just cryptids. I mean, you're kind of into everything from paranormal to UFOs as well. Wondered if you would like to talk about this image. Let me bring it up real fast. Okay. I know we were talking about it before the show, but I would like to have you talk about it here. And you said you took this in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, for whatever reason, I see ghosts, and I was walking in Vegas to the corner store to buy some drink, and I see what looked like a zombie crawling out of a very small box and staring at me. So I took a picture, and then continued walking, because I didn't want to go up close to it and talk or nothing or get bit. And so I went to the corner store and turned around, and I came back and took another picture just to make sure, I wasn't tripping. Maybe it was just a shadow. But no, when I came back and took the second picture, it was gone. The flap was down. You can see it right there. Yeah, the bottom one is on the way back. The top picture is on the way to. So you can see that the lid has come down. It went back in. And that box, like I said, was no... If you ever bought a case of wine, I would say that's the size of the box. Just, a regular case of, 12 bottles in a wine box. So it's no taller than a foot tall. And I don't care how good of a contortionist you are, you ain't going to fit in a foot tall, foot wide, foot and a half long box without destroying it.
Right. So what do you think this is?
I think it's a spirit that was manifesting. There is so many ghosts in that town. I'm guessing a whole bunch of them are from, homeless people, but a lot of murders happen too there. So yeah, I think it's spirits because I saw lots of them. You know, it was the strangest thing. It just got weirder and weirder because I was on foot there. My car at the place we were staying, it was it's like a extended stay, but it looks like an apartment complex, and you pay by the week. We were there for a year, and yeah, as the time went on, I would keep on seeing these different things. One of the weird things was I saw what looked like a person crawl out of along you got the sidewalk, right? And to your right would be a long bush, you know, that they put there at some point, about let's say 3 feet tall, maybe 2 feet wide, just a hedge that goes along the sidewalk for a good distance. And I heard some voices, real weird mumbling. Then I started walking across the street, and I turn around, and I see a person crawl out of the bush and scurry away. And the bus passed by, and when the bus passed by, it disappeared. And I walked back over to see, there must be a tunnel or a hole in that bush for a person to fit, and there wasn't. It was normal bush, and yeah, it's just weird stuff over there in Vegas. I saw in the tunnels there, the irrigation ways where thousands of homeless people live underground in Las Vegas. I would see the occasional spirit just coming out of there. First, it would be a glowing lit, like I thought somebody lit a fire, but as it came closer to the opening, the fire would dim out, but there would be like.
Just happened.
Yeah.
The hell?
That was weird.
That was very weird.
Yeah, what the hell just happened?
What just happened?
I have no idea.
That was weird.
That was very strange.
Yeah, there were so many murders.
Suddenly booted us all out.
That's crazy.
Well, you dropped out first, DA.
Yeah, I froze for a second.
Yeah, well, then when you dropped out, it was four of us. Then all of a sudden, you came back on by yourself, and then it was you and Doc. Then you, Doc, and Noah. Then Noah dropped off, and then it was weird.
That was very strange.
It was like musical drop-offs. It's almost like a bad trip.
Damn you, Robbie.
I felt like that was the right time. Sorry.
It was.
I think Ken's got it. Brock, he said FBI has entered the chat.
Yeah. There's something else. I'm trying to get all the pictures downloaded right now. Something else I wanted to bring up, and these were the ones that Robbie sent to all of us.
Yeah, these are the ones he really freaked me out with, and was enjoying himself immensely. Ooh, look at this.
Okay, I want to start out first with the main picture, and as you explain what's going on, I'm going to slowly switch to the other images.
Okay.
Oops. Go back to that one.
Okay, so that's a picture I took from my front porch, facing the Las Cruces Mountains, the Guadalupe mountain range, also called White Sands Missile Range. So there's just all kinds of weirdness happening in that direction. And luckily, my front door faces that way. So the reason why this picture is so interesting is because there's a bunch of weird stuff in it that make no sense. Oh, yeah, there's that one. There's cloud things. There's things in the clouds. Sometimes they're UFOs cloaking, and then it seems that there's giant beings and a whole nother world happening, and I guess like in a different dimension that's coming through, and we're seeing it, also cloud. Or I'm not sure how. I don't have an answer like how it works, but a lot of these images are sunsets, and that I take and I mirror them, and the strangest things come out. Yeah, scary stuff too. I was on a reservation in north of Albuquerque, and I was showing some of these cloud pictures, to a couple friends, and one of them was a medicine man, and he said, that I had the gift, of sight. And he said, if you really want to see what's there, mirror that. There's an app. And so I downloaded the app and started to mirror the images of the clouds that just didn't look right to me. And
what's
like
that
this,
app called? I may need to get that app.
all you got to do is look up the mirroring app. Just type in excuse me.
That one right there, though. That looks like a dogman or Anubis.
Yeah. And it just astounds me. These images were actually just in the clouds.
I was telling them that some of these pictures would go unbelievably hard as album covers, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this one right here is one of the weirdest ones, because once you zoom into this one and you flip it out to the right once, can you rotate it to the right? There you go.
Like that?
Now zoom. Yep. Now zoom in all the way to the middle. There you go. Right down, like raise it up, pull it up a little bit, so you can. Yep. Right there. There's several individuals sitting next to each other. It looks like, to me.
Oh, I'm following where you're at now. I remember.
Yeah, it's two Sasquatch, cone-headed ET, blue cone-headed ET, and next to him it looks like a man with a mustache, beard, hair, and he's wearing a crown. If you have the other, I don't know how many he sent you, but there should be.
DA, if you look at your image down at the bottom of the screen where it was at, zoom in down at the right. Look at the bottom of where the sunlight's kind of coming through, where there's kind of almost like something coming up through the bottom of it.
Hold on.
At the bottom right corner where the sun's coming through the clouds, where he's talking about.
Hold on, I can send you them real quick.
At 5 o'clock, Robbie?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you scroll,
I'm gonna send them right. I'm gonna send them right now. The close-ups.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
But that general area is what you're gonna be looking at these pictures he's sending now.
Okay, there we go.
Let me get the images from him, and I'll bring those up.
I just sent them, and what I did was I used a filter. You'll see a number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I used the filter to kind of like wash out the other ones, and I just erased, with my stylus where the filter was on, so you can see each one individually, so you can really see what's there. But
let me pull these up, and I'll share the screen again.
All right. And this is the first podcast to show any of this stuff. I never shared it with anybody else.
Okay, there's that one.
Yep. So right there, you see, I superimposed the enlargement of that little area where the red arrow is pointing. Right above it is that. Yeah. Okay, there's even more. You can zoom in a little bit on that one. And pull it a little bit down. There you go. You can see the individuals, the blue-skinned conehead ET guy. There's two Bigfoots next to each other, and if you go to the other pictures where it shows it looks like yellowy, beige color. Yeah, I've highlighted each individual one by one.
Wow.
So you can see each one.
Kind of trippy, ain't it, Doc?
Indeed, it is, sir.
These
See
are
that number four?
bizarre.
Number 4. If you could zoom in on that number 4. There you go. There you go. You can see the face, and it's wearing something on its head too. You see the brow ridge, nose, everything.
And you got these by enhancing images you took of the clouds?
Yeah.
And
Dude, these are so bizarre.
correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Scroll up, DA. Scroll
All
up.
out of that first, all out of that same cloud, out of that first.
Other
first
way.
picture, right?
Other up.
Yeah, that's the second one right there.
Okay, now go over
Which way, left or right?
to your left.
That's as far as I can go to the left.
Other left.
Now, you meant the image to the left.
Yeah.
Which
And-
one are you trying to look? The
and go
cone
up.
head or the man with the beard?
Or go down. Scroll down. There you go. Right there.
Yeah, if you go to number 1, is a way better version of that guy right there you're looking at right
Yep.
now. Go to click on number 1. It says number 1. Then zoom in. Yeah.
Yeah, now zoom in on him.
Mm-hmm.
Almost looks like Jimi Hendrix.
I was gonna say the same thing.
But yeah, like I said, it looks like it's wearing a thorn crown. It has beard. You see the eyelid. You can see eyebrows, the nose.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So to me, that goes beyond pareidolia and matrixing.
Yeah, I mean, pareidolia images, you can find one or two things, but just finding all of this in the same image is really kind of bizarre.
Do you have the one that you isolated, that thing we've talked about that looked like the big blue demon with the thing on its back? It's down at the bottom of you have that one picture? Jesus. You know which one I'm talking about? Looks like the big.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see here.
Because remember we talked. I looked at it and just saw that one until you pointed out. It looks like it's got faces on both ends, but it looks like just like a big creature that's something standing on its back.
Yeah. It's the first picture. Let me see here.
Yeah, you can actually see it in the original picture that you put up first. Yeah, you can. It's but when he actually enhances it, it's freaking scary.
You want to send me the image, or have already got it?
Well, you can see it in the first image that you put up of just the cloud before anything gets enhanced.
But I'm gonna send you something. Those pictures right now.
Okay.
Okay. So. There's the initial one.
I gotta get a little sugar. I think I'm crashing a little bit.
Wear your seatbelt.
Blood sugar crash, not car crash.
Oh, my bad. Okay. And then these ones that I'm sending as well are all like crops, cropping out sections. There we go.
What I'm talking about, if you look down at the 530 at the bottom of the screen, you see that big long thing down at the bottom? Yeah, right there where you got the mouse. Look up, but look to the left a little bit. Right there, you see the face.
Yep, I just sent them the close-ups.
Okay, let me get the close-ups and I'll bring it back up.
Yeah, but you can see that without him enhancing anything. That's
yeah. Yeah, that one was crazy. I call that one a Genesis. Because there's dinosaurs. It looks like dinosaurs in it, as well as a giant blue demon monster that's kind of like in the position where if you're doing a plank. So it's resting on its elbows and fists.
Yep.
And under the face, on the blue eye, you'll see two individuals, one that looks like he has brown hair wearing a white robe, and then another one looks like Evil Knievel wearing his helmet, sort of. And then on top of the back of that blue monster thing, there's a face. You'll see a face too.
Because, Doc, I know you'll probably understand this because you're like me. You're a movie fan. Jesus knows this stuff. But think about Ray Harryhausen in the Sinbad movies. That looks like that old big Cyclops that had the big horn on its head. The stop motion Cyclops.
Yeah. Holy
Does
crap.
it not? Or from the original Clash of the Titans. What's his name? Calibus.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
But if you look on the other end, it's like a big human face on the other end.
Yep. Yeah, if you pull it down a little bit, right there, you can see what looks center. Yeah. Pull it. How can I point it out? Can you see where your cursor is?
Yeah.
Directly left of that cursor, like about a little bit farther. Keep on going, and stop. It looks like a woman. If you zoom in, it looks like a woman on her knees wearing a dress. She has a belt on. I have a close-up of that in the other pictures I sent you. Her hair is in a bun, and she has wings behind her. It looks like she's on her knees. And to the left of her, if you keep on going left, and like right there in the middle where your cursor is, in the other images I have cropped close-up stuff that I sent you, it looks like Bender from Futurama. Now keep on going to the left. Now pull it down a little bit. Pull down. There. You can see two eyes. Pull it up now a little bit. Up, pull up. There you go. You can see teeth and a mouth and lips. And now if you look at the other pictures I sent you, the yellow ones as well, you'll see close-ups and clearer versions of it. The reason why it's yellow and blues is because I added a lot of contrast and saturation, and it turns everything those colors when you do that. So that's why it changes. It's such a different color. Yeah. But yeah, I see a lot of weird stuff like that, like I said, out there. I don't know. What I'm imagining is that whatever they're doing on White Sands Missile Range, there's some weird portals being opened, and or it's kind of like a Men in Black, like the International Space Station, and that's where they come in and out of possibly.
Yeah, that is bizarre. That is some wild stuff, dude.
Were you able to download the cropping? Because they're way more clear.
Let me bring those up. Sorry.
Big Vic said, your blood sugar crashed, Hannibal. Can I interest you in some candied thinking meat? Hey, man, I got hypoglycemia. Let me be.
Yeah, people don't know that I've seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That actually took place. Yeah, see, there you go. You can see that face on the left, right there, the teeth and two eyes. The eyes are kind of offset, but yeah, it's there. I can see lips and teeth, and then to the right of that face, you'll see a weird little fat baby on his. Move your cursor to the right. Just keep on going. Go top. Now go down with your cursor only. There you go. You can see that right there where the little hand is. It's touching its mouth now. That's the nose and eye. It's like it's laying on its back. Now, if you drag it to your left, drag it. No, you're doing it the right way. Drag it to the left. Okay, right there behind that weird thing, it looks like zoom out just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. Yeah, right there. You can see it's one I call Bender from Futurama behind next on the right side of where your cursor is.
Mm-hmm.
On the right side of the black area. Yeah, right there. It looks like it's holding its hand against his head, and just like Bender's, the way Bender looks with that his seeing eyepiece, whatever. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things in this image, and when I mirrored this one, this is the one, this particular picture. That's where you see that big Anubis. You see, there's the people. Ooh, go back to that one you just passed. Right there. Okay, so that's the face of it. If you zoom in underneath that face, and you see that the shoulder right there and the arms and fists. Underneath the chin, though, you got what looks like two individuals underneath it.
Dude, this is wild. Kind of mind blowing, really.
Yeah, and that's why I sent the original pictures. Is that's all there before I added contrast and all those other things. It's all there.
Every single one of these out of one picture. That's what's so wild about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it. Like you said earlier, DA. It's pareidolia. You get one, maybe two things out of a picture. There's so much going on in that cloud formation that you just.
It's absolutely mind blowing.
And that's it. That's exactly what I told you, wasn't it, Jesus? So you pulled that picture up, and I was just like, my mind and my eyes just didn't know where to look because it was like he had to like calm me down, rein me. Now look at this one because there's so much to see in that picture.
Right. So yeah, I'm as I described as a weird ish magnet, and I can't help it. I see so much stuff, and I've grown accustomed to anytime I see weird stuff, pull up my camera real quick to make sure it's real and take pictures. And because of that, that's why I have so many pictures of all this weird stuff. So yeah, it's never stopped for me. It continues.
Jesus, you remember what we were talking about with the two Sasquatches? You said King Kong. Look what Penny Van just said.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is almost identical to what you said at the conference. You said that looks like almost like King Kong because he's wearing wearing a crown.
Yep.
So see, it's not, and we didn't say anything about that tonight, but that is the exact description that Jesus used at the conference.
Yep, it's some wild stuff. And it's like, since I'm not trying to, at least I'm trying to just be open with everything that I see and experience. It's been real hard for me. Like I've had those pictures for years, and haven't showed anybody but like maybe my wife or a very close friend or something. Just because I'm not worried about the ABC groups giving a damn. It's just I'm trying to present what my findings, but I don't want my findings being so wild that they're like, oh, that's just too much. It's like. I can't help it. This is not looking for stuff.
You gotta show what you find. I mean,
yeah,
no matter how bizarre it is, you've got to show it.
Yep. And at the conference, one of the speakers was implying that the only reason why we're seeing these things is because we are looking for them. If you look for a Bigfoot, it'll manifest a Bigfoot. If you're looking for a dogman, it's going to manifest a dogman. And I'm like, not necessarily. I'm not looking for half of the stuff that I get on camera, without the intent of none of this stuff. I wasn't like, man, I sure would like to see a giant blue demon with two people under its chin, some dinosaurs flying, a stegosaurus and a brontosaurus in the ocean eating some bushes, and a weird little fat baby with a funny hat. And it's like, no, I'm not. When I took that picture of the sun, it was just a cool picture of the clouds. I wasn't like, man, I sure wish I could find a picture, or a blue cone-headed alien and two Bigfoots sitting with a hairy guy, with a big old beard.
Sitting with Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, right? So that to me, implying that that's why we're seeing what we're seeing is just because we're putting the intent out there to see it. It's like, I'm sorry, no. Like with MUFON. All right, I'm in one of MUFON books. D.A. Gregg wrote I called him up while I was having a UFO experience, and I saw from one UFO multiply out into 12 UFOs, right? A week later, he calls me and tells me that he believes everything I told him now because a woman in Las Cruces on the complete other side of that mountain range saw the exact same thing as me. You know?
And Jesus, we've said this many times on the show, and I think you'll agree. Sometimes, like maybe the first time you ever see something, you might be lucky enough to see it. But once you see something, once you know it's there, that paradigm shift has happened. It's just like getting a brand new car. You get a Camaro for the first time, and you drive down the road, and every other car you see is a Camaro because your mind is trained to look for that now because that's what you're in. Same thing with this stuff. Once you know the things like this exist, and you know things are out there, your brain knows what to look for. It's just like, and so I don't think it's manifestation. I don't think it's anything other than the fact that that's how the human brain works. And if you're open and you've had these encounters, things are going to be a lot easier to see. Now,
definitely. It's like the conference I'm on is supposed to be called Paranormal 360. You know, because there's just so much that I deal with that does a 360 with the weirdness. No, exactly. Just like with me, before I learned, the telltale signs and how to track Sasquatch, I never noticed any of that stuff, and I've been camping a million times. But now that I learned what to look for, I can't help but see those things. Once they presented themselves, and like you said, the mind learns to recognize patterns. And like somebody asked me, well, I've never seen a UFO. I don't ever see UFOs. Well, how can you see them all the time? And I'll ask them, well, what % of the day or the week do you actually just look at the sky? Just stand there and look for half an hour. Or is it just every once in a while throughout the day, you're just walking and you look up real quick, there's the clouds, that's it. Well, how do you think you're going to see UFOs if you ain't looking? So exactly. How are you going to see outside of a bedroom if you don't open the damn door and walk out?
It's kind of like saying, if you take a teaspoon to the shore of the ocean and you scoop up water with that teaspoon and look into the water of that teaspoon and say, sharks don't exist because there's none in this spoonful of water.
Jesus, you're muted.
Yep, I was asking my wife for more coffee. My bad.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
No problem.
I just saw you talking, and I was like, "Uh-oh."
But I mean, that's it exactly. I mean, you can't sit behind the computer screen and say, "Well, Bigfoot don't exist," if you're not out in the woods trying to prove that it doesn't exist or that it does exist. Either way, you can't be a keyboard warrior and that it doesn't work that way. If you're somebody who says aliens doesn't exist, but you're not out there looking up and looking around, then your point is invalid because you don't have anything to contribute to it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So Ken, it wasn't me this time.
It was me. That was my fault.
DA stepped in that bear trap you left for me.
That's right.
You always tries to get me off on sharks, Jesus, just in case you're wondering, because I love sharks.
Boys, we are past the 2-hour mark.
Just for you, Ken. That's almost as big as you, Ken.
I'm not saying we should wrap things up, and maybe this would be a good time to let Jesus get some more coffee and everybody stretch their legs. Let's take a minute and talk about one of our affiliates. Doc, you want to tell us a little bit about Scallywag? No, not Scallywag. I'm sorry, about Dark Angel.
I mean, I can tell you about
yeah, tell us about Scallywag too.
I was just texting with Craig about 2 hours ago. So, so Dark Angel Medical is the company that I own. And we pride ourselves on not only making anything from minor trauma first aid kits to major trauma first aid kits but also giving you the education on how to use those products, how to recognize injuries, and how to treat them in austere environments before 911 gets there, or in the case that you are 911. You are your own first responder. You're going to be the one who takes yourself out of that bad situation. So head over to darkangelmedical.com. You may have recognized our kits in some of DA's books, actually a lot of his books, from the Ragnarok Rising series to the Wild Hunt, the Apex Predator, well, we're not in Dark Frontiers because that's my ancestors, but you'll see our kits in his books. But we are a very small business. We're a disabled veteran-owned small business, and like I always like to say, we're a very small business with a very big heart. And if you head over there and you use the code cryptid25, you'll get 25% off your order. And if you enter in Team Odin in the order notes, we'll send you a cool little rocker patch. And I'm working on 3D Havocs right now. I apologize for that, man. Missing that. But we will square you away, get your order shipped out to you as quick as we can. And if you ever happen to use one of those kits to save a life, whether it be your own or someone else's, let us know, and we will replace whatever you have used absolutely 100% free of charge. And that is called our Kit for Life Guarantee. And we have well over 170 saves now on the record that we know of, and we're very, very, very proud of that. We offer training in person and online. So if you can't get to a class, just check out the online training. We also have tutorials on our YouTube channel. So check out our YouTube channel, give us a like and subscribe, and we will get you squared away there as well. So head over to darkangelmedical.com, get a kit, get trained, and be the difference.
Absolutely.
FSA, HSA, did you mention that?
And they are FSA, HSA eligible for those of you who have money towards the end of the year. What he said.
Bobby, you want to tell us a little bit about Scallywag?
Sure thing. At least I ain't muted him. Okay. It went to the bigger screen. I couldn't see the yellow around.
Usually happens.
Usually happens, but I think it happened earlier this time, so I'd already backed out and come back in. Anyway, Scallywag Tactical, as Doc said about the veteran-owned companies, is another one of our affiliates. They make some of the best knives that you can have. DA's got the Karambit. This is the Jolly Roger. Doc's on in training, so I'm sure he's probably got one or two with him, or 12 maybe. That's the Dew Claw. He's got one. Got your mini jack.
Got my mini jack in my bag in there. Yeah,
got his mini jack.
I'm traveling as usual.
If you're a fan of the books, you've heard that one right there, the Privateer. I believe that's the one Clark carries in his everyday carry. Jesus is getting in on it. That's the new razor that DA's got. Like I said, this is the Jolly Roger. Doc's got the mini jack, which pretty much is a smaller version of the Privateer, I think. But they make some of the best blades that you could buy. They're in the book for a reason. DA puts them in the book because he likes them. We got them because they're great knives. There's the S word. Jesus is impressed.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
That'd be the bounty.
I can't wait to get one. I'm definitely going to be ordering something from you.
There's Noah with the other Jolly Roger like this one right here. That comes in what, two colors, I think, Noah? This one that we got, and then a black one, I think.
Black and blue. Yeah.
Yep. Then there's the there's just all kinds of knives. Noah's favorite are the kitchen knives. He said those are some of the best kitchen knives he's ever used. And Noah is very, very well versed in using kitchen knives. He's done that for most of his adult life. Yeah, most of his adult life. That's the transformer that Noah's got right there. Head on over, check out Scallywag Tactical. Go to a little section he's got called Blemish Blades. The blades themselves are usually not blemished. DA's got one blade, I think, and all these Scallywag Tactical knives amongst all of us that have gotten blemished blades. one blade has got one little scratch on it. It's that one right there.
Right
and DA's
there.
wanting it out. That's it. Most of the time, it's because the box has gotten crushed or crunched or torn or something like that, and he can't sell it as new. So this knife was in the blemish blade section. This is a $45 knife, and it was $15, and the shipping was almost on 2 knives was almost as much as the knife itself. So I got 2 knives, and the shipping was almost as much as the knives.
This is an Orca I got off the Blemish Blade sale, and I can't find anything on this knife that's wrong.
So get that good deal on the blemish blades, but you
Hell, this one was a blemish blade too.
Yeah,
And
so was this one.
There's nothing wrong with it at all.
You go find you a couple good blades, get you a good deal from the blemish blades, and you go into the checkout and you put code DA Roberts 10, and that's gonna give you another 10% because it does stack up. So you're gonna get some good knives, a good discount, and I'm gonna tell you, these knives will sell. You might look at a knife and say, "Man, I like that knife, but I'm not gonna get it right now." You may come back tomorrow and that knife be out of stock for a good 3 or 4 months or more, right, Doc?
Yep.
It'll go you 3 ways: long, deep, and continuous.
So if you get your scallywag knife, you better have your Dark Angel medical kit, because
Right.
Because DA and I have been the 2 stupid idiots that have cut ourselves these knives.
Yes, we have.
This one right here.
On the air.
This one cut me long, deep, and continuous.
And this is the one that got me.
Giggity.
That privateer is like a freaking scalpel. It really is.
DA was trying to shut.
It's as sharp as a laser. Laser.
But anyway, go on over to Scallywag Tactical. Give them, let them know that we sent you. Use code DA Roberts 10 at checkout. Get yourself a good deal. Get yourself a good blade. That's all I got to say about that.
Our other affiliate is BrockBlades.com. You guys have seen Brock Blades in the chat. Ken Brock's a longtime friend of the channel. This is an awesome guy, career law enforcement. He makes handcrafted blades. Whereas all the Scallywag blades are mass produced, they are beautiful and high quality knives. These are custom made by hand. No 2 are identical. No 2 will ever be identical. Everyone's a work of art, but they're also high quality blades. This one's the Skane Dhu, which is an old Scottish knife, means black blade. It was a holdout knife the Highlanders would keep in their sock. They also used it as a utility knife to eat with and pretty much everything else. But he makes lots of different blades, some of them which are available to order directly off the website. Others you have to order custom. And if you know anybody that's an outdoorsman or a first responder or veteran or current member of the military, I can tell you the perfect gift for somebody is a custom-made knife. And it's something that will be highly treasured. His knives are unique pieces of art, and they are functional pieces of art. They are very sharp, they hold an edge, and they are amazing blades. Very high quality work, and I can't endorse them enough. So check out BrockBlades.com and use discount code cryptid10 at checkout for 10% off your order. And if you order a custom blade, make sure in the description you mention that you heard about BrockBlades.com from this channel, and you'll still get your 10% off. And so definitely go over to BrockBlades.com, check them out.
Of course, Ken says, "Where's yours, Doc?" Mine's at home, Ken, because I was terrified that I had lost mine on the last show, and I actually found it in a bag that I didn't pack. So I left that damn thing at the house on this trip. So there you go. Turd.
Well, now that we've got that taken care of, Jesus sent me some more pictures, and we'll jump back in and talk about those for a few minutes. I'm going to bring up
not being made, Ken.
I'm going to bring up these other pictures and let Jesus tell us about these. Jesus, these are the ones you just sent me. This is obviously the bigger one of those images. But, wait a second. I think I went the wrong direction. There we go. And this one.
There we go. So I was driving down the highway when I saw a cloud it looked like a profile of a woman's face with a nose slightly upturned. And then all of a sudden, out of her forehead, a giant goldfish came out of it. You zoom in to that thing that's protruding out to see the goldfish. To me, it was like a goldfish coming out of the forehead of the profile of a woman's face, the silhouette.
That's bizarre.
It has all the right fins too. It's like I said again. Sure, call it pareidolia, but when does pareidolia get all the anatomical features correct?
Exactly.
You know, and the way it came out, it literally came out like not like super quick, but it was steady coming right out of the forehead, and the rest of the cloud was staying still. You know.
That is really bizarre. I mean, what are the odds that it would do that?
Right? And on the profile face, like I said, you can see a mouth, little lips, and an upturned nose, and then like an eyelash sticking out. Yeah. It's just so weird. When I see weird, I take pictures.
Well, Penny says
You know
even
what
the fish
pays
has
to.
an eye. See?
Again, it could be just a UFO cruising. That's just the lucky shot I got with the cloud coming off of it, maybe.
And where was this taken?
New Mexico, again, facing White Sands, Missouri.
A lot of weird stuff going on in the sky above White Sands.
A little bit. The other picture I sent you of the clouds was we had just did a mini conference, UFO one in Albuquerque, and afterwards, we all got together to have dinner and talk amongst each other. And the thing was, this one was about abductees. So we had multiple abductees together, which one of the more known ones is Travis Walton was there, also an abductee. And interestingly, we all had the same blood type O negative. So after dinner, I went in the parking lot, went to my vehicle to leave, and I felt like somebody was watching me. And I turned around and looked up, and on top of the cloud was it looked like a man standing on the cloud, giant, staring at me. I don't know if you got those pictures, BA.
Maybe. Let me check.
It would have came with that one. It would have to be in the opposite direction of the goldfish.
Run through them. Don't think maybe I didn't have that one.
It should be in your messenger.
Let me see if I can find it then.
Wait. Looks like that. Right there. See that little guy sticking up right there? That guy right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that image. Doesn't look like I've got that one.
I can resend it, Robbie, no problem. Okay, I'm resending them, okay?
Okay.
GIF? Why would they be GIFs? That's weird. Maybe that's why you do it. It says you can see them, your little circles right there next to them.
Oh, I'm not seeing it in my messenger.
That's very strange. Hold on, they're right here. Try again. Okay.
Okay, I got it that time. All right, let me download that and get it pulled up. Here we go. Guys ready? There we go. Is this the one, Jesus?
Yeah, I'm just sending the other two now.
Oh, okay.
The close up.
All right, I'll have to pull that off and then download those real quick.
Okay. Screenshot. There, I sent you two more. Yeah, so like that. So the individual that I saw up there, when you zoom in and after I cleaned it up, you can see he's wearing a vest. You can see his hands, his face. He has a mustache and goatee, and he's wearing a funny hat.
Okay,
So
well,
that's
there's the first image,
right.
and then I'll go to the others. Oops, wrong direction.
Yeah. So there you can see the whole. That was the whole photo. And then right there is the enlargement, and then on the right side is the cleaned up version. On the left is the original, zoomed in of that individual.
That is bizarre.
Again,
Wicked cool, but it is very strange.
yeah, it's like
There's just there's no easy explanation for any of these.
no, and it sticks out on that cloud. The type of cloud that it's there on, it sticks out like a sore thumb out of the rest of the cloud.
Yeah.
You know?
That is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, so I
Dude,
was
these are some of the weirdest photos I've ever seen.
Right. I agree with Penny Van. They write that it looks like an artist in a beret, and I agree. It does. And like I said, I see a long mustache and goatee, and the beret on the head. It's wild.
Yeah, I've got there's nothing I can offer on that. I can't explain it. I don't know how it would, pareidolia only accounts for a certain amount of things. You can find shapes in the clouds, that's pareidolia. But to find so many vivid images in the clouds, it's just mind blowing.
Right. Like, what do you do when you see these, such weird stuff? I have no idea what to do besides just take pictures and wait.
What do you think these are?
Well, like I said, it's the spirit realm coming through, and we see them. Like I said, not how we would see each other. They're on a different, spectrum, but they come through enough that where they can manifest themselves in clouds. Just like if you're a ghost hunter, and you take those energy boxes, so the ghost can collect the energy to manifest somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But without it, they can't even make noises or nothing. So
Yeah,
kind of imagining, or it's the military projecting images on the clouds. I don't know, but all I know is that they're there.
yeah.
It's really I don't mind saying I don't know, but
Yeah,
that's how we.
That's how we learn more about these situations. Is we don't know something and we want to learn more about it. I've got no clue what these could possibly be, but I know the simple fact that we're seeing them with our own eyes is very kind of terrifying, to be honest.
Yep. Oh, it definitely is. One morning, this is a little story I got. One morning, used to stay in my little travel trailer, and I was up, looking through all my crazy cloud pictures and all that stuff, and about 4 o'clock in the morning, I live in the middle of the desert, like between the mountain range and White Sands Missile Range. There's just desert and dark, and I'm in my RV, and I'm sitting there, doing what I do with the all my weird pictures, and I hear something outside a whistle. It goes, and I was like, what the hell? I got quiet, then it did it again. And I said out loud, hell no. I ain't going outside, because it sounded like it was trying to get me to go outside, I called my parents, and I was like, y'all ain't sneaking around outside, are you? Trying to mess with me? Because I got pictures. Robbie, I showed you the green orb picture, right? Remember?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same RV that happened. Where I was doing a tattoo, and in the middle of the tattoo, my door slammed open and broke the window, and then we heard a disembodied voice say "hello," like that, and scared the crap out of right. And the guy
morning.
Yep, the guy that I was tattooing, he told me, hey, Jesus, is it cool? Could we call this the first session? And yeah, we called it the first session, and he left. And then I took 2 pictures outside, because I thought it looked real cool the way the trailer looked with the moon, and then its lights looked like the Orion constellation. And I just sent you the pictures, and in the pictures it turns out there's a green orb, and one is passing by the tires of the trailer, and then in the second picture that green orb has traveled to the end of the trailer and stopped above my barbecue grill. And once I zoomed in, enhanced, cleaned it up, all that stuff, there's an actual face sticking out its tongue at me. And that was right after that disembodied voice and the door slamming open. So yeah, there's so much that I haven't shared with the world, but I'm trying to get there, and shows like this is making it possible for me to share these things. So yeah, right there, if you look by the tires, if you zoom in by them tires, you'll see a green orb leaving a contrail almost, behind it as it travels to the back of the RV. And then the next picture.
Oops, wrong direction.
Is it's now past those tires, and it's stopped over my little barbecue grill. It's green. You can zoom in a little bit closer if you can. Okay, well there's the close-up of that little green ball that's above that barbecue grill. Right there you can start to see the ocular cavities. But this one is zoomed in, added contrast and all that fun stuff that I normally do, and you can start seeing the face even more and more as it goes along. And that's the final.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, again.
That is freaking bizarre.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, about that time.
Yep, first session's over. Be back later,
Yeah, can we do the next session in town?
At the church?
Broad daylight? In church, at the church in broad daylight? That is freaking bizarre.
Right?
Hey, Amy hit it. Medusa.
Right, it has a bunch of little weird little things coming off its head. At first I thought it was horns, but once I enhanced and brightened it all the way around it, carefully, you see there's a whole bunch of these weird little wavy deals coming out like Medusa. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking will-o-wisps. Because in folklore, will-o-wisps are supposed to be like souls, ghosts, whatever you really want to consider them. that are out there to lead people to basically just like either their undoing or someone else's. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
basically like them misleading you into either doing something detrimental to yourself or doing something that's going to injure somebody else. You know what I mean?
Got it.
And the fact that it was like trailing off behind the camper in that picture or in those pictures, kind of makes me think that it was trying to lead you somewhere, and you were just like, hell no, you know?
Nope. Well, nope. You better be carrying a hamburger or something.
No kidding. Boys, we are at the 2.5 hour mark. Probably gonna start wrapping things up.
All right.
It's getting kind of late, and we've kept Jesus for almost going on 3 hours now. Man, thank you so much for being here. You have brought us some amazing pictures and some fantastic stories, and we really appreciate having you back. And we definitely need to have you back on soon. I want to take an opportunity to plug your channel again, folks. If you're not a member of his channel, it's called Breaking Bigfoot. Definitely go check that out. It's on YouTube. In fact, Noah, will you post the link in the chat?
Yep, working on it right now. There it is.
Okay. So you make sure you go over and like, share, and subscribe. Check out some of the awesome videos he's got over there. And while you're at it, make sure you're checking him out as Gonzo on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. And if you watch a particular episode of Longmire, you can see him working on a motorcycle, which was cool as heck. Because when we were watching it here just a few weeks ago with the wife, I'm like, I know that guy. She goes, no, you don't. I'm like, yes, I do. I know that guy.
Yep, I had shaved out my mustache and goatee for the role. Yep.
So it was, he's again, like I said, he's the Renaissance man of our time. He was an actor, he's a writer, he's a director, he's a stunt man, former law enforcement, a paranormal investigator. The man's done it all, and we're thrilled to have him here as part of the show and call him one of our friends. Jesus, thank you so much for being with us, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are awesome, and it's cool getting to meet your son, sort of. Not in person, but it's good to meet you, sir.
It was good to meet you too, man.
Well, I've wanted to bring my wife and the boys down to show them the area where I lived in New Mexico, and hopefully we can do that sometime soon. And I would love to just come on down and hang out and go out and see some of the places you've got down there.
Oh yeah, guarantee. You just let me know, and I'll be here.
I will definitely do it. Well, folks, thank you guys. Again, everybody make sure you go by and like, share, and subscribe to Jesus' channel. But before we go, there's always something we always like to touch on, and it's the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and a 22 a Day Foundation is something that's very near and dear to all of us here at this channel. And if there's a charity you would like to support, it's definitely the 22 a Day Foundation, because again, 22 veterans a day is far too many. And this comes at a very fortuitous time, because September is also Suicide Awareness Month. We lose a lot of people, and not just veterans or first responders, but this is a bad holiday, for a lot of folks, especially the holiday season coming up. It tends to really kind of bring those numbers up. So reach out to the folks you care about. Let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know how much they mean to you, and just be there, for the ones you care about. And that's not just the first responders and military and veterans. That's everybody. But again, if you know somebody that's a first responder, if you know somebody that's a veteran or is active military, be that voice that keeps them off the edge. Because we've all been there. We've all had our good days and bad days, and sometimes the demons win. And let's just not let them win. Let's let those folks know we're thinking about them. Let them know we care about them, and be that voice. Be that voice that pulls them back from the edge. Because I know, Robbie and Doc have been there for me many a times when I've had dark days, and they know I'm always here for them. And just be there for the ones you care about. Remember the 22 a Day Foundation, and remember those folks you care about. Just even the occasional text, just reaching out and saying how much you're thinking about them and how much they mean to you. It could mean far more than you'll ever know. And in my lifetime, you know, I've seen too many friends buried under that flag, and I think every one of us here has been touched by loss and suicide, and it's a horrible thing, and it's something that I wish we could prevent 100%, but we always need to be there for those we care about. And yeah, well, like I said, sometimes the demons win, but let's keep up the fight until they no longer do. William Dudas, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Welcome to the DAX Machination. We're really happy to have you. But something of a tradition we've started here on the channel, and it's something I'm going to kind of continue, is we've started ending the show with a toast. There's an old Irish song that means a lot to me. It's called The Parting Glass. But when you read the lyrics of the song, you listen to the words of the song, you know it's talking about more than just somebody leaving the bar at the end of the night. It's talking about those we've lost, about those who've come before us, those that have touched our lives and for some reason are no longer there. So if you have a chance, listen to the song The Parting Glass. It's a beautiful tune. It's a haunting tune. But there's one particular line I always like to close the show. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night, and joy be to you all. Good night, everybody.
Good
Hi,
night,
everybody.
people.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.